Pulse 95. Between local lines. Notes from the Emirate.
Notes from the Emirate indeed. We have the launch of the MEA Energy Innovation Hub, and to talk to us in greater detail about this in the Emirate of Sharjah is the CEO of Sharjah Research, Technology and Innovation Park, His Excellency Hussain Al Mahmoudi. A very good morning to you.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on air with us to talk to us about this. Now, let's start talking about this new idea and what is this new hub going to be doing, especially when you say to become a regional gateway to innovation and growth.
So the Middle East, Africa Energy Innovation Hub is a platform to promote innovation in the energy sector. As you know, our region here in the GCC and the larger Middle East, we host more than 65% of the global reserve for oil and gas. We are in the of promoting renewable energies like solar, wind, and also UAE home for innovative new. So the region is already a center for global innovation when it comes to energy. What we would like to do is to play a key role in developing innovation related to these energies, because at the moment most of these energies come from Europe and America, and we would like to be a home for startups, small and medium companies that are venturing into energy. We would like to cement the relationship between academia, scientists, students, and corporates in innovating. So the objective of this is really to develop new economies based on innovation, but addressing really a sizable industry in our part of the world.
And Hussain, you spoke about the focus on energy. Let's talk about renewable energy and the importance of adding more of it to the mix here in the country.
So in terms of renewable energy, as you know, the UAE is embarking on a significant path to develop solar power. We have them now in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, in Sharjah, with the recent announcement of MEA and Masdar. We are also considering development of hydrogen as a source of energy. As you know, hydrogen is a very hot topic now. It's much more cleaner when it comes to environment, and it should be much more cost efficient as well. You have things that has to do with wind, but also it's not only about the upstream of energy, but also we are talking about how can we become more efficient as a user of energy. How can we have more smarter building, more efficient building, construction materials. So these are some of the topics that we will be working with, some of the topics that we will be promoting, and hopefully everything in the park.
So what type of programs or activities and services initiatives will be taking place in the hub?
So there are various types of programs. One program will be dedicated for research activities, applied science research activities between corporates and academia. We will be looking at challenges and opportunities facing the different components of energy. Another topic we will be developing a sandbox, which is basically a platform to test all kind of innovations in an environment that is really enabling. Third point will be around entrepreneurship. We would want to encourage entrepreneurs to venture into the energy, let's say, industry. So there are different programs addressing different elements of this innovation hub.
It looks amazing. Now, it sounds like a very important project for the Emirate of Sharjah. If I could ask you in terms of if you're going to be offering incentives for international investors to come in, or any specific countries that will be interested in sending their companies to the new innovation hub.
I think, as I said, the region is a key energy player globally. We have sizable energy producing companies. We have sizable energy service companies. We have sizable project executor companies. So to start with, you have a good base to work with. But those companies also work hand in hand with international companies. And our focus would be, as we said, this is the Middle East Africa Innovation Hub, to focus on this region, working in partnership with companies, academias, even governments from all over the world.
And can you elaborate, what would you say is the biggest challenge that we need to address with this innovation hub?
The biggest challenge is climate change. The biggest challenge that we have 9 billion people coming soon, and we don't have enough food and energy to really supply them. So climate change topics is a key topics. We have the SDG 17 goals, the Millennium Goals, that we have to look at them. And also, we have to ensure that we have sustainable life going forward. So there are many topics that we will be focusing on, all related to these, let's say, mega trends.
But it's secure to say that the main driver for launching this innovation hub is climate change?
Climate change is the key topic for sure, and it's linked, in a strong way to the way that we, at the moment, use energy and the way that we produce energy. So that's definitely a key topic. How do you capture carbon? This is a very big topic. Storage of those energy is a very big topic. So, for example, those are two technical topics that we will be looking at.
Well, Your Excellency, thank you very much for your time, and all the very best with the launch of the Middle East and Africa region's Energy Innovation Hub. And we look forward to hearing more from you later on in the coming few months.
Thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure. So you were listening, you too. You're listening to His Excellency Hussain Al Mahmoudi, who is the CEO of Sharjah Research and Technology and Innovation Park. And we did have a very fruitful discussion about climate change and the importance of creating the Emirate as a regional gateway to innovation and business growth as a result of this new innovation hub. Stay with us on the Morning Majlis. Lots to discuss this morning. And of course, the big interview of Harry and Meghan Markle with Oprah Winfrey is going to be a key topic. So do send us your thoughts and messages on the text lines 4215.
Pulse 95.
The Morning Majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
Welcome back on to the Morning Majlis. Well, remember last week we were celebrating the Week of Innovation. It was from the 21st until the 27th of February. The UAE was celebrating innovation, and it was under the title UAE Innovates 2021. So basically on your phone network, I'm sure a lot of you noticed that the phone network name, it changed into UAE Innovates.
Definitely,
right?
yeah.
Well, now if you look at your phone, it will read UAE Reads. Why is that? That's because March 1st, it marks the beginning of the month of reading here in the UAE. It's an annual initiative to foster a better culture of reading among citizens and residents alike. So I'm sure everyone's checking their phone right now.
Yeah, I'm preoccupied with that at the moment. But look, it's pretty cool, especially for us here in Sharjah, the Sharjah World Book Capital. We were awarded that title in the year 2019, and that's where the Sharjah Book Fair takes place as well. So a culture of reading is in place here. And based on reports of the World Health Organization and the Ministry of Health and Prevention, the program on adopting those lifestyle changes is also a big part of what they're doing here in the country.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Now, we've also got the Arab Reading Challenge that the United Arab Emirates promotes in the Arab world to encourage the world of reading. Now, it's so important to find a perfect book as well to have, especially in your lockdown situation or even at home if you're trying to quarantine, to have that partner, the literary partner. Not only does this reading sort of enhance your, let's say, vocabulary, but it also calms you down. It sort of like it distracts you from whatever you're doing at the time.
And stimulates your thoughts as well.
That's what I like about it, yeah.
And we have a keen reader within us in the Morning Majlis crew, and we've also
That is
All of us.
And Hani Balkis also is another Future Talk presenter, or presenter of Pulse 95, who hosts Future Talk. He's also a keen reader. I did not expect. He's the
I'm
last
a great
person.
bookkeeper.
Bookkeeper?
Collector.
Collector.
Bookkeeper and collector. That's it.
Yeah.
Sadly.
No, but you're right about the thing where you said it stimulates your thoughts. It
Definitely.
really is such an active process, and I find that with reading, unlike anything else that I do, when I watch a movie, for instance, I could see myself sort of observing it passively and letting it hit me. But when you're reading, you're an active participant. I almost liken it to being a co-writer, because your interpretation of the book is valuable and a really big part of the process. And books, a lot of the time, they challenge your preconceptions of the world. They also have you empathize with the minds and thoughts of other people. So reading is incredibly valuable and rich, and God bless.
Definitely, absolutely. Actually, here in the UAE, several events from workshops to seminars and more are being organized across the country under this year's theme, My Family Reads. So basically, the Month of Reading 2021 initiative has been designed to enhance the role of parents in instilling a love of reading in their children. So that will highlight its vital role in early childhood development. So basically, you can challenge your family on how many books they can read during the month.
Ooh, that could be
Which
good.
makes me think, how many books can I read during a month? I don't know. Maybe like 2.
Okay.
That's,
But maybe if you
What about
try
you?
hard, you can do it a lot faster.
what about you?
It depends. So typically, if I'm reading a novel, it could take 3 days to a week for a novel. So it's like 240 pages
You're so
novel.
good.
It's a novel.
Okay, I take back what I said. It's kind of embarrassing now.
I mean, you put 2 in a month, right? It's not bad.
No, I mean, 5.
Oh, stop it.
5. I can read 5. It's just that I don't want to,
Yeah.
That's it.
No, it's understandable. It's a lot of people do to struggle to take time out and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to be reading a book. And then there's always this social dilemma that you think you're being lazy while reading a book, but it's
Yeah.
not, technically. If you're stimulating your mind, you're doing something. Whatever you do is on a normal basis, driving your car or meeting friends or whatever, that's to distract you and stimulate your mind. So when you're reading, it's perfectly okay to be doing that as well. But everyone gets into that thought thinking, it's such a nice weather outside, I can step outside and go away and do something. But you could sit outside and sit in a park and read.
Definitely.
Yeah,
a lot of
chill.
distractions, too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people complain about that these days as they're trying to read their book, but they're getting social media notifications and they got other things to do. So it's really, a lot of people find it difficult to just sort of sit in the moment and focus on the task of reading. But what I like to do is just take your reading everywhere with you. Put it in your phone, wherever you might be. You're waiting in a hospital, you got something. Just grab your phone, read a book. Why not?
I thought I was
I don't know
a
why I
hero
thought
for
about-
reading 2 a month.
Yeah, no.
Thought I was a hero.
It still is. There's some
It's an
people
achievement.
Yes, still is. There's some people here who bought an autobiography 3 years ago, still haven't completed it.
See, that's the thing.
Haven't.
That's the thing. You
Yeah.
lag on things.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at all the events, the interesting events that are taking place in celebration of the year or the month of reading, really. The Emirates Literature Foundation, it has launched a reading challenge open to everyone here in the UAE. And there are 2 categories, individual and family. And entries can be either in Arabic or English. So to enter, people basically have to read as many books as they can in 1 month. And they can share the list of books with a 1-line review for each. Another event is Maktaba, which translates into library.
Yeah.
It will host multiple children's reading sessions held in both English and Arabic, as well as artistic children's workshops to keep up with the theme of cultivating the reading habit among children. The third event is actually 30 books will be announced by the Kalima Project for Translation and Isdarat. That's with a new book named Daily throughout March. The last one is a virtual Arabic language program. It's called Adad Language. It will be launched by the Abu Dhabi Arabic Language Center, and it will consist of 10 virtual educational sessions. So make sure to take part in any of them.
So much to get into and get involved with. So do stay tuned to Pulse 95. We'll be back here on the Morning Majlis.
Almost unsurvivable sounds like there was a breaking point.
My biggest concern was history repeating itself.
You've said some pretty shocking things here. Wait, hold up, wait a minute.
you just heard
That was
a
intense.
little bit of a glimpse of the interview that we're all waiting for. The Oprah, Meghan, and Harry special that will air on CBS on Sunday, March 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. This is going to be a very intense interview, a 90-minute interview that will begin with Oprah and Meghan chatting as the veteran talk show host gets the pregnant Duchess to open up about marriage, motherhood, and the unique pressures of royal life. And later on, Prince Harry will join, and both are expected to discuss their move to the U.S. and their future plans. And of course, I believe baby Archie will definitely make a kind of an appearance as well in the interview, because that's just what Oprah does.
There's going to be a lot that's going to be discussed in this interview. I'm interested as well in the Princess Diana aspect of the interview.
Yeah.
Prince Harry has previously said he stepped back from royal duties in order to protect himself and his family from the, quote, toxic environment created in the United Kingdom by the press. And his late mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, had relinquished her Royal Highness title at the time of her divorce. She was also caught up in a media storm at the time of her passing when she died the following year after a car crash in Paris. Now, in the clips of the upcoming TV special, there's an image of a young Prince Harry with Diana that is shown as the Duke says, quote, "I can't begin to imagine what it must have been like for her going through this process by herself all those years ago, because it has been unbelievably tough for the two of us, but at least we had each other." He also spoke about, quote, "My biggest concern was history repeating itself.
Yeah.
Righty, so, and there's going to be a lot of people having their opinions on the matter. Some people would argue that the British press was right, and they gave too much fodder for the British press to build stories and narratives on, and there was a bit of a rift with Prince William. Other side of the argument would be like, why didn't they let them be normal? And a big question is, Prince Harry says he's not stepped back from the royal family, he's stepped back from the duties. What duties? What do you have to do as a prince? So that needs to be sort of clearly defined and explained. And he does say that it's a lot of humanitarian work. But another question that I've got in mind is, he claims to be very, very close to his grandfather, right? Mm-hmm. He talks to he mentioned on his James Corden interview that he speaks to his grandfather, and then when
Who's very ill right now.
He is really ill.
Yeah.
World cameras are on that hospital.
Right. And he's having interviews.
And these interviews are being launched. In the Arab world, you do that.
Yeah.
But probably because he did those interviews before he heard
did.
that his grandpa
Definitely.
is ill. Yeah.
Definitely he did that, but...
The show must go on. What can you do? I mean, imagine Oprah postponing the interview because the grandpa is ill. I don't see that happening.
I'd ask for that. I'd be like, hey... And then, of course, then when it has a question with the British press being scrutinizing, the British press are pouncing on this idea, saying your grandfather's ill and you're doing interviews.
Yeah.
You can't win. You really can't win.
That's the problem.
No matter what happens, even if your grandpa's not in the hospital, they're gonna say something.
Yeah, exactly. And,
exactly.
Yeah.
They always have something to say.
Yeah.
What will people say in the Arab world? That's what they say. Like, what will people say? What will people think?
That's true. That's true. We
Yeah.
have that mentality here.
So that's what it is. But let's listen to some more bits of Prince Harry with James Corden. That was released, a 17-minute long interview.
It was just the way that we hit it off with each other, and we were just so comfortable in each other's company.
This is what he's talking about.
With any member of the royal family, I
Meghan?
guess,
Yes.
is kind of flipped upside down. All the dates become dinners or watching the TV or chatting at home.
Yeah, so he's opening up over there with his... It was such a good interview as well with James Corden. Brought the human side of both the characters, in fact. But, that's the scenario.
I see why he actually withdrew from this whole being in the royal family.
He's always wanted to be normal.
Because, I mean, as a part of being a working member of the royal family, you have so much to do, so many responsibilities. You have to attend hospital gatherings. You have to go to museum exhibits. You have to go to board meetings. You have to play bingo with pensioners and generally just support Queen Elizabeth in a very respectful manner and way. But of course, that was never going to be the case for Harry and his wife. I mean, realistically speaking, with his father, Charles, then brother William, and then William and Kate's 3 kids all in line to the throne before him, he doesn't have that big of a chance to rule.
That probably played a little bit
So
of a mental
obviously,
part,
it's better for him to just step back,
But even growing up,
live a normal life.
Prince Harry's always been like that when he was growing up. He
was kind of rebellious.
He was very rebellious in
Yeah.
nature, and not rebellious too much to an extent that he defied the family. He just
Right.
felt he wanted to be normal.
Normal.
And when you are part of the British royal family, there's a set of protocols of how you're going to be growing up, behaving, what you're going to be doing. He joins the Marines. He signs up to all these different programs and has turned up to various social gatherings with attire that he shouldn't have worn. And he's turned up to different places and tried to be normal. He's friends with celebrities.
And don't forget that his mother's death really impacted his life,
definitely did.
his lifestyle, and his decision making.
Definitely. And
Till this day.
Absolutely. And I think you guys, you talked about Prince Harry's motivations, and I think that's important to highlight as well, because when the royal exit happened, Meghan bore the brunt of criticism from internet haters and commentators.
Yeah.
They're saying she drove a wedge between Harry and his family. But reportedly, it was his choice to do it. And deep down, it's something that he had always struggled with. The attention from the press and the stories that essentially circulated around him and haunted him throughout his time in the royal family. So I thought it's important to mention that aspect as well.
And for a childhood, to have gone through such a difficult childhood, he seems to come across really well. And he's really good on camera. He's confident. He's a normal guy.
He's a good person.
Yeah, and he comes across a person who's defended his wife and made that big, difficult decision that he had to do. But it'll be very interesting to see what he does, what kind of answers we get on the 7th of March, that big CBS interview that he's doing with Oprah Winfrey. I'm certainly looking forward to that. And, growing up, I've seen a number of Oprah Winfrey interviews. I've never been as excited as this one to catch, this particular conversation. It certainly will be a great chat. And so we'll take a breather.
Hopefully it will beat Tom Cruise jumping on the couch.
Nothing beats that. The first thing he said when he said Oprah Winfrey interviews that we watched growing up, that's the one interview that pops to mind.
Yeah, we'll see if it beats that.
Definitely. Well, let's see if it's going to be as intense as it does. It is getting promoted as. We'll give you a little bit of a musical interval, and we shall continue the discussions after that. And up next on the show, we'll talk about the
Rolls-Royce all-electric plane.
All-electric plane, Rolls-Royce. What's going on? Well, let's stay tuned to Pulse 95, and we'll be right back.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse.